Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. In case you're new here, we talk about matters wellness. Today, we are privileged to have a lady who will talk to us about sickle cell, for she is a sickle cell caregiver. Please join us. Hi Jane.
Hi,
Welcome to my channel.
thank you very much.
Okay, how have you been?
I have been okay. Thank you.
Yes, you have mentioned that you have a daughter
Yes.
who is in Form 1 right now.
Yes.
Yes. And she has the sickle cell condition. Talk to us about your daughter.
My daughter Lorraine was born in the year 2007, and in the year 2009, that is when the condition was diagnosed. Actually, before the diagnosis, she used to be sick throughout. We were on and off hospitals, but we didn't know the cause of this. But at one point, she was admitted in a hospital in Nairobi. The doctor decided to do that test, and actually, she was found to be to suffer from sickle cell disease. Yes, it has not been easy. It's not an easy journey because she's been on and off hospitals despite doing everything, despite giving her the health foods. But we appreciate this far, but it is not an easy condition.
Sorry for that. Anybody in the family who maybe has that condition, or how come Lorraine has it?
Okay, no one in the family so far has it. Or maybe someone might have gotten it and maybe passed on because people didn't understand sickle cell. I happen to come from a region that is far interior. So I'm suspecting maybe there was one in the family, but the parents didn't get to know this. So for me, how my doctor told me, the doctor told me that we are both, the father and myself, we are carriers of sickle cell. So when carriers marry, their likelihood of getting a child who has sickle cell disease. Because once the two carriers meet, there's a chance of getting a normal child who has no any sickle cell related things, or there's also a likelihood of getting a carrier or a normal child who has nothing at all or a carrier. So for my case, so me and my husband are carriers. That is how Lorraine was born, as a sickle cell warrior. We call them warriors
Okay.
because they endure a lot. So that is the name we call them.
They do. I have actually seen somebody who goes through it, and it's not
Yes.
something you would wish on anybody, you know. So, any myths or stereotypes you have heard about the condition? Like, did the community you come from? You said you were far from interior. Which is this community that is
I
far
come
from it?
from Korea. Korea is in Migori County.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did they embrace Lorraine, or how did they? How did they embrace? Did they?
Oh, they didn't embrace at all. In fact, you find yourself in an awkward situation where you hear people saying that your daughter has been bewitched. They want to take you to a gangas, so you wonder what is this. Here, the doctor is telling you that it's a normal thing. It is our genes. It's actually our genes. The way we inherited genes from our great grandparents or our fathers. So it's a tough thing because they call it is a bad omen. They don't want to support. You are left all alone. But we thank God for this far because my daughter has grown. Being in Form 1 is a great mileage for me.
And indeed, it must have been a tough thing for you.
Very tough.
How have you managed it up to now?
Okay, actually, it is trusting in God and being brave enough. Because for real, I can remember when she was. Let me cause of thank God. I can remember when she sat for her KCPE. Actually, before KCPE, this girl was sick that weekend before KCP. We were admitted in hospital, but I thank God for the nurses, the doctors. They were really up and down. They were saying that Lorraine has to sit her KCP in school and not in the ward. So we managed. My daughter came, scored well. Unfortunately, she was called in a school far away from us, but we managed to get her a school within Nairobi, which is doing well. But even the journey of Form 1 was not easy for me. I was not sleepy. I couldn't imagine my daughter being in a boarding school, being away from me. I was thinking of a lot of things. The diet there, because at home we try to give better diet. I imagined in school, githeri and all sorts of diet. But I thank God, it's not been easy. It's been on and off hospital. After a week, I'm cold. Sometimes she goes 2 weeks. I'm cold. We're in hospital. But I thank God for this fun.
Has the government been supportive?
Oh my God. The government has not been supportive at all. Can you imagine a child with a chronic illness like sickle cell disease being called in a school in Kakamega, and the family is residing in Nairobi? So a sickle cell diseased child studying in Kakamega, a place she has never been, a child who requires medical attention like all the time, a child who requires transfusion like all the times. She's on antibiotics throughout. She has to go for checkup, and then she's called to join a school in Kakamega. I personally tried going to the Ministry of Education. Do you know, these people told me that sickle cell is not a disability.
Wow.
So I was not given a chance. I was actually told to go, to take her to Namirama. How do I take my daughter to Namirama? And I know her condition. She's ever sick. We are ever in hospitals. She's being checked in a hospital in Nairobi. The doctor is here. In case of an emergency, how do you run to Kakamega, pick her and take her to the hospital? They have not supported us in any way. And I wish they could do that.
Okay, what is that you wish they could do?
I wish, number one, when it comes to schooling, let them consider children with disabilities. Let them consider children with sickle cell, because it's not an easy condition. Let them give them schools near their home, where even the teachers are able to call the parents immediately. Because this is a condition that a teacher cannot just take a child to the hospital. Just take, yes, but call the parents to come take care of the child. If they can do that for us, we will be relieved. Another thing that maybe they could do for us is in terms of medication. The medicine is so expensive, my friend. Do you know, even some of them, even the teenagers, you could talk to them. You know, teenagers go without dawas. They don't take medicine which they're supposed to be taking on a daily basis. But imagine buying a tablet, one tablet at 64 shillings. Now you have to take 2 tablets daily. Which Kenyan can afford that? Imagine, it is too much. And sickle cell is all over, to the rich, to the poorest. The people in slums suffers from sickle cell. How can you afford such? Yes, if they could reduce us the medication, I will really appreciate. And maybe another thing, I don't know how the government feels, but can you imagine this child suffering from this disease, struggles with education on and off, goes up to university, they get employment, and still they are taxed. If they can relieve the tax to the children suffering from sickle cell, leave alone the caregivers. But if they could even go ahead and relieve the tax to the caregivers, we would really appreciate. Can you imagine, you have to pay this tax, you have to buy an insurance for this child. If you don't buy an insurance, you have to pay for medication. At the same time, paying tax. Just relieve us, give us that relief. Another issue that we go through is the people referring to our children as bad omens. I think it's high time people go down, try to understand maybe the condition that people are going through instead of just throwing things. When my baby is sick, just come and ask me what the child is suffering from instead of you walking around talking, this child is ever sick, what is she suffering from? It's really a torture, but as caregivers, let me tell you and get it from us, we appreciate our children. In fact, they give us even more strength to go on. We like the way they are because that is how they were born. We appreciate them and we don't want those mercies from you, but maybe the support and just understand what we go through instead of just talking anything. Talking anything hurts us even more because this is not an easy journey. Yes, give us support if you can instead of just talking anything.
Okay. And you say that this condition is prominent in the western part of Kenya. Do you feel people who come from those areas should test whether they have seen their families or not?
Yes, actually, kwanza the young ones, people before, if you before you can maybe decide to come together in terms of marriage, kindly people from especially the western Nyanza at the coast, kindly do it is called an electrophoresis test. If I'm not wrong, I'm not a medic. You just walk into a hospital, just do that test. When you do it, actually you'll be able to protect yourself and your children from this painful suffering. It's not an easy thing, even seeing your child suffer, because when your child is suffering, you are suffering too. If you do that, actually we will reduce the sickle cell population because it's still coming up. The number of people affected are many, but if you did this test, actually it will rescue you this stigma, the whole thing. Try to date. If you realize that you are maybe a carrier of it, try to date someone from a community where sickle cell is not rampant, and make sure you test first.
Okay. And say something to Larry. Look at the camera and say something to Larry.
Oh, my daughter, oh, my princess, I love you so much. Mommy stands for you all the time. You've made me to be a strong woman, and I'll continue to be strong for you. Thank you, my princess. I love you and wish you all the best that the world may hold. All the best, my princess.
Aw. Thank you so much, Jen. I admire your strength. It's not easy. It's not easy. I personally have experienced someone with that condition. May God keep guiding you and strengthening you.
Thank you very much.
And to everybody out there, sickle cell is not a curse. It's not a bad omen. So treat these people with love, for they need it. And as Jane has said, if you come from those communities where sickle cell is prominent, just go test. Just go test. It will serve a